our guest this morning, Tim Neese, who you may be very familiar with, saying,
Aleem.
oh, wait a minute. Well, let's start with Tim first. Didn't he just do my hair? Yeah, that's the guy. He's from Swizzle Sticks, GM Swizzle Sticks Salon and Spa. Joins us this morning. Chantel Burchard is the owner of Studio Intent, which again, the location is?
Stephen Avenue at 1st Street Southwest.
There you go. And how about this gentleman on beside you? Now, you know Aleem.
I do. He's a designer that I support, so I carry his brand. I'm wearing one of his vests today.
Very nice. Aleem Arif, you may be surprised. You may not have noticed, Chantel, but at one point, you were in the world of finance.
That is
and
right.
And now you're in the world of fashion.
How different,
Dude,
right?
what happened?
I question that myself sometimes, like, what was I on when I made the switch? But I feel alive doing what I do, and the reason I quit my finance job was because I didn't think I was making a difference. So my whole goal in finding myself was I wanted to make a difference, and I happened to be a creative person, so started designing clothing, and then stores like, you know, and people like Chantel actually kept encouraging me, and last year I was selected as the top emerging designer Canada US.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a great honor.
It was a great honor to represent Canada and go on to Paris and show what I do. So it was really great doing that. And part of my story is I'm originally from Pakistan, so part of the year I spend at the factory where the product is manufactured, so I get to work with the people who work on these leather jackets. I know them on their first name basis. I get to meet their families, so it's a really social affair. So I can, you know, I feel really good about where the material is sourced from, people who are working on it, and people I sell the product to. And it's just, and that's what Fashion Revolution is about, questioning who made your clothes and getting answers to that, because it's our little choices as consumers that we can, you know, help transform an industry which is worth billions of dollars. And I think in the glitz and glamour we forget the real people who are working on the fashion. And by asking simple questions we can totally change that and make it more real. And that's what Bano Amy is about.
And Chantel, you touched on this a little bit when you were talking. It doesn't just mean sustainable style doesn't just mean within Canada, right? Because this is an example of somewhere where you're getting your clothes made in a completely different country, but it is still sustainable.
Absolutely. When somebody here in Canada, I sell primarily in Canada. When somebody's buying a product here, they're actually inherently supporting somebody in a third world country who wouldn't have the opportunities otherwise. Right. So this year I had enough volume to employ 30 people for 2 months. And to be able to do that while I'm pursuing what I love doing, which is design, I thought it was a really good way to give back, you know, not even being, like, I'm not a charity or I'm not doing anything like that, but just being a conscientious social business, I'm able to create opportunities in the third world. And you connect the world because, you know, people in Pakistan get to hear about Canadians and vice versa. So you act as a bridge and you have fun doing what you do. Conscientious
Social business. This rings true with you as well too, Tim, when you hear Aleem talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Both in my personal life as well as what we do at Swizzle Sticks. I think, you know, I go back to, it's important that everybody that takes part in helping your business along gets paid a fair living wage and lives in that decently.
Yeah, Chantel, you are also the epitome of consciousness.
Yes, I find it hard to separate myself from, you know, what I'm wearing every day. So clothing, we're all enveloped with it, so I want to know where it comes from. And, you know, with Aleem, this is where there's an example of that dialogue going on. So his pieces aren't made in Canada, but I do carry them because he's open to the conversation, and he will explain to me where the pieces are made. He'll show me photos of the factory. We even had a conversation a few seasons ago about how his leather was dyed. A lot of leather is chromium-based dye, and Aleem can explain better, and that can be very toxic in the way the dye is let go into the water afterwards. Aleem, after that conversation, investigated his dyeing process and is actually switching to vegetable-based dyes.
Look at that.
As a result of the conversation, so that shows the cycle and how it can happen.
And that's basically what we were talking about in Fashion Revolution. That's in practice, right? Like Chantel, being a customer, also a supporter, wanted to question like where the fabric was coming from or how it was tanned, and I, as the manufacturer slash designer, was like, okay, you know, we need to do this. We need to be sustainable 100%. So I started investigating what vegetable tanned leather would look like and how my product would be different, and investigated that, worked on it for a year, and my collection is 100% sustainable vegetable
that,
tan
eh?
leather. So I feel good about who works on it and where the materials come from, and the end consumer is helping support that really green movement by investing in conscientious, socially conscious clothing.
Yeah, whether it's clothing, whether it's hair products, whether it's food, this is part of the awareness that we were talking about earlier. And if we can gather together and say, look, let's just ask those questions. Let's not be afraid to say, okay, where exactly did this jacket come from, and how are you, when I get my hair done, exactly what are you going to do with my products afterwards, Tim? I mean, those are great questions to ask, and I'll bet you more people every day are asking those questions, panelists.
It's
When you, sorry.
In our business, we have an opportunity to educate people and to share that knowledge.
You're right.
This is a perfect example
Right.
of us helping each other, and we make those connections daily with the people that are in there. And so we share our story with someone, and it might resonate with them, and they might challenge you back, and then you're like, okay, well, I've got to go look into that. That's a good question, and that's how we all grow and how everyone gets better. And so having all of these conversations is so important.
Aleem?
Like next time you're in the mall and you look at a $5 t-shirt, you have to question, it has fabric, somebody sewed it, somebody worked on it, it got exported from, let's say, Bangladesh or Cambodia all the way to Canada, somebody paid the duties and the freight. So where are we cutting corners? There's a perfectly good looking t-shirt sitting right in front of you that's for $5. So the question is, who's not getting paid fairly? Like, if everybody's getting paid fairly, that t-shirt cannot cost $5. And that's a simple question, You don't have to pay a ton of money to invest in conscientious fashion. You can pay $10, for example, but at least have the satisfaction that everybody was fairly treated and the environment was protected. There are no pollutants or harmful dyes that are flowing in the ocean somewhere.
Well, you three are leading the charge. Great stuff, you guys.
Thank you.
Aleem Arif, again, designer, and his business is called Bano E Me. Yes?
Perfect.
Great to
Glad
have you
you're
here, sir.
Thank you.